It's that time of year. It's time for Giant Monster Month. Gamera was Studio Daiei's answer to Godzilla. While most studios made a one-off Godzilla knockoff, Daiei was committed to their atomic flying turtle. Over the course of the years, Gamera has starred in 12 different movies, making him the prince if Godzilla is the king of all monsters. While later Gamera films would be known for their silliness, and the 90s Gamera films would be known for being awesome, seriously, they're better than the Godzilla movies of the time. Today, we're going to be looking at the lackluster ripoff that started it all. The first Gamera movie is the only one filmed in black and white. The fact that this movie was made in 1965 may tell you something about its budget, given the fact that most everyone was making color movies at this point. The movie begins with a research expedition spotting some unknown aircraft. The planes, carrying a nuclear bomb, are shot down by American jets after failing to identify. The bomb explodes on impact, destroying the layers of ice that had trapped the ancient beast Gamera. Gamera resurfaces and destroys the jet that target the plane before retreating to the ocean where he destroys a research vessel. When the army investigates, Gamera is gone. The researchers away from the ship return to Japan amidst claims of UFO sightings and report the sightings to the press, who quickly spread the news of Gamera's awakening. Before anyone can respond, Gamera emerges at Fujisawa and destroys the city. However, the monstrous Gamera actually saves a young boy named Toshio, who develops a relationship with the monster. When Gamera next attacks, it is at a nuclear plant, and scientists speculate that the radiation nourishes the monster. This rules out conventional warfare, causing the military to develop Operation Deep Freeze, which aims to deep freeze the prehistoric turtle. The mission is partially successful, allowing enough time to allow the military to flip Gamera on his back using explosives. The theory goes that, like other turtles, Gamera would not be able to flip himself right side up, causing him to starve to death. Little did the scientists know, Gamera is actually a flying turtle. You know, the kind of turtle that retracts its limbs and head and shoots flames out of the holes to create jet propulsion. I'll give the filmmakers props, I did not expect this one. Anyways, it turns out that the UFOs everyone was seeing was Gamera himself, flying through Japan. Now that Gamera is considered a major threat, the nations of the world come together to create Plan Z. Before we get to see the plan in action, and before it is ready to be implemented, Gamera attacks Tokyo, checking the last major to-do item from his giant monster list. Since Plan Z isn't yet ready, the government decides to start burning oil at a refinery to appease Gamera's need for heat until Plan Z is ready. Once again using fire, Gamera is lured to Oshima Island, where Plan Z is finally implemented. If you thought Gamera's flight was ridiculous, just wait. The plan that the best scientists across the world came up with was creating a rocket to send Gamera to Mars. And it works! Gamera is lured onto a platform, where two halves of a rocket come together to form a ship that blasts Gamera into space. The end. It's hard to talk about Gamera without mentioning the other big G. It's no surprise to anyone that Gamera was another copy of Godzilla, but where Gamera shines is in its lunacy. Even in this first Gamera movie, the most reserved by far, the situation is zany. Instead of a dinosaur-looking thing, we get a turtle that breathes fire and can fly by shooting fire out of its leg holes. Instead of a device that destroys oxygen, we get a rocket ship that sends the monster to space. Instead of total destruction, we get a monster that murders hundreds in one scene and saves a kid in the next. The Gamera series survived when other knockoffs didn't, because it dared to be different. I know it's odd to call Godzilla reserved, but when compared to Gamera films, Godzilla feels tame. In a genre that was weird to begin with, Daiei threw everything they had at the wall, and a lot of it stuck. While I absolutely recommend this movie, I could see it being problematic for some viewers. The first Gamera film is really just another Godzilla ripoff. The plots don't go full crazy until later in the series, but those films are aimed almost exclusively at kids. For example, one of the highlights of the whole series is a knife monster, slicing another monster into sushi, but this happens in a movie where the only adult characters are child-eating aliens. As I'm writing this down, I'm remembering just how cool and ridiculous the Gamera series actually is, and there's no better place to start than with the film that started it all.